wala kaming mahanap na trabaho para kumita ng pera sa araw-araw. Kailangan namin ng pandagdag puhunan.
Ako gusto ko talagang magnegosyo, kaya lang kapos ako sa puhunan.
Poverty remains to be one of the biggest challenges in the Philippines. As of 2018, 16.7% of Filipinos live below the poverty threshold due to lack of opportunities for work and livelihood. Around 21% of the enterprises and 35% of the employees are in the National Capital Region alone. Given these numbers, how can marginalized sectors gain access to business opportunities? Palamigan Co aims to help address this through their sustainable freezing system that uses the brine immersion cooling technique.
My name is Rodmark Bariga. I am the co-founder and current CEO of Palamigan Co. We started Palamigan Co officially in 2016. That was the time we registered the company. But unofficially, we started prototyping machines in 2014. My business partner started the idea. During one of his road trips, he saw somewhere in Tuguegarao, I think, he saw a similar machine. He saw something that made ice, and he was intrigued by it. He had the idea of making something much better, something much more portable, much more smaller.
Rodmark and Vip, his co-founder, cite a common problem among fisher folks as an example. About 1.8 million fishermen in the country are small-scale and have no access to ice or any kind of freezing technology. As a result, they often dispose their catch within a span of a few hours or sell them to middlemen at a low cost.
He was intrigued by ice because he used to have a business in fishing.
Rodmark and Vip have been very proud of their ice-making technology. Palamigan Co has come up with a way of not only bringing freezing technology to small-scale entrepreneurs, but also providing affordable and clean ice products to the masses.
Everybody's probably used to the idea of big ice plants, the huge ice plants that we have in the cities. It uses basically the same technology. So we use brine, which is salt water, to help us cool products.
This brine immersion cooling technique is second fastest freezing method after nitrogen freezing, which is very expensive and dangerous.
We decided on a much smaller size. At the same time, the machine is much easier to transport. If you decide you wanted to move the ice plant, you can readily do so. It's basically plug and play. There are no special electric requirements. We have to be able to do different types of products using the machine. We can do everything in one machine. The idea was really to go to the communities. We tried to make the machine as simple as we could so that even a kid could operate the machine. We were able to lower the cost because we wanted to go to the communities. We were able to lower the cost. So now it's about 1/3 the cost of something similar.
The machine produces 60 to 70 kilos of ice per hour, or 1 to 1.3 tons of ice per day. Using brim, micro ice plants or freezing facilities may be put up in any area with electricity and clean water at a fraction of the cost of setting up traditional ice plants and its energy requirements.
Me and my business partner, we have the same advocacies generally. One is we're both serial entrepreneurs, and We both think that the Philippines can get out of poverty faster if there were more entrepreneurs making more money in all the communities. The reason that you can only find ice shops in the cities is because it's a very capital-intensive business. To give you an idea how much it would cost to set up an ice plant, if you were talking about capacity and how much ice the plant can make, for every 1 ton of capacity per day, you would need to invest about 1 million to 1.5 million. So the huge ice plant serving the cities, that's about 50 tons, 100 tons, 200 tons. So you can just imagine how much it took to invest in that. During the first few years when we started, we partnered with any community that we saw needed ice and needed livelihood. And we'll do some interviews. We'll either partner with a family or we'll partner with a community association. But we realized over the years that it was so difficult to partner because, for one, if they were used to dole outs, then they just expect dole outs. And it's very difficult to change the mindset of working for something they need for themselves. People don't have to have experience in business. But what we were looking for really when we say entrepreneurial mindset is that people just want to change the current situation that they're in. They want to change it for the better.
Changing their business model helped them improve the sustainability of the social enterprise.
The original business model was we'll fund everything and then we'll partner with the community with the operations of the business. Meaning 70% of the profits would go to the community and 30% of the profits would go to us until such time that we're fully paid for the investment. But when the time came for us to collect money, we weren't very good in collecting money. So we ended up not collecting anything. So we had to change our business model. That's when we found out that the communities weren't actually our customers. They were our beneficiaries. And the funders, the potential funders, those were actually our customers.
Palamigan Co. grants its direct partners a social franchise of the enterprise, making them their primary beneficiaries. Partners need not be highly experienced, but must possess entrepreneurial spirit and mindset.
In choosing partners, we actually have a vetting process that we do. Over the years, we found out that when we go to any community and we tell them if they need some sort of livelihood or if they're interested in running their own ice operations business, of course, the answer would always be yes. But now we've developed a system of vetting wherein we send them materials where they need to go out and do some sort of feasibility check study. So they have to go around the communities looking at things that will support an ice operation business. And we get them to answer questions. We give them a survey form about their background, where they came from, where they are now. And then that's the first step. The next step is we go through our first interviews. And then after the first interviews, we have another set of interviews, and that's the final vetting.
Initially, developing this prototype technology and running the enterprise brought challenges to the co-founders.
We had no idea what a social enterprise was. We knew we wanted to help other people. We knew we wanted to go to the communities. But our idea of helping other communities was based from the traditional thinking that social enterprises should be NGOs. If you want to make something sustainable, then you have to make sure that you're earning. But when we started, our business model wasn't really about earning, but the social impact that we wanted to create. But because we weren't focusing on earning, that lagged behind, and we actually got into a lot of trouble because of that. Our cash flow dried up. Everything was just going out, nothing was coming back in. And to be honest, we almost closed shop in 2018 because of that. So, but since we changed the business model, since we understood when we learned what a true social enterprise is, and when we understood what it took to be a sustainable enterprise, then I think that changed everything for us.
Jesus Lord Divine Mercy Parish is a new partner and beneficiary of Palamigan Co.
This is the first time that we partnered with a parish. So our partner is actually the parish inside the community where we are in, here in the middle of Quezon City. So the parish has a lot of offerings for the different communities surrounding it. And they have a lot of activities. So now the proceeds and the profits from the business will help them sustain their efforts for the different communities around the parish.
Sa ngayon, nagsisimula pa lang po kami. Ang plano ni Father Roland, kapag sa darating na panahon, ito ay malaking tulong para sa mga feeding or sa scholarship at sa church na rin. Okay naman yung machine. Mabilis kami makagawa ng yelo, and then nakakagawa pa kami ng ice drop.
To further improve their business, Rodmark and VIP studied ice consumption in the Philippines.
When we were doing our study about the cold chain industry, we're still so far behind other countries. Almost 50% of food is wasted, and majority of the waste can be traced back to breaks in the cold chain. So it means either there's no ice, there's no cold storage, or there's no cold transport. Everybody needs it, but there's so little supply.
Currently, the trend in cold chain industry is the increasing market demand for improving speed and visibility. This has helped Palamigan Co. thrive amidst the competition. Still, critical variables such as proximity and availability remain in the operational success of the enterprise.
The only reason that the ice business is far from the customers is because traditional businessmen had to set it up in areas where there's more chances of getting back the investment. But if you think about it, ice melts. So if you're going to sell ice, you have to sell it quickly. And the user, once he gets the ice, he needs to use it right away. We go where it's needed. You should put more facilities where it's needed. So currently, the only limit we have in putting up an ice plant is that the area has to have electricity and a source of water. Of course, if you don't have water, you can't make ice. And if you don't have electricity, you can't run the machine. Okay? We're still trying to partner with alternative energy organizations such as organizations who are into solar power. Unfortunately, that kind of system is still a little bit prohibitive in terms of costs. It's still a bit expensive. The machine can run on solar power. It's just that to set up that solar system, that's the only thing limiting us. But the thing is, 90% of the country now has access to electricity and water. So that's still a lot of area to cover.
Palamigan Co.'s target market could be divided into 4 distinct sections that correspond to different areas. First is the highly urbanized, richer, most difficult to serve, and with the highest need. Second is the highly rural, poorer, most difficult to serve, and with little commercial prospects. The third is highly rural, poorer, easiest to serve, and with high commercial prospects. Lastly, the highly urbanized, richer, easiest to serve, and with commercial prospects.
Prof. Edmo asked us to do the market map so that we'll be able to understand what our positioning should be. And we realized we were all over the map when we started. And then at the start, when we were able to define the customers, we were able to segment our customers as well. We have customers now who we call sort of the retail customers. So organizations such as Microfinance Institute like Grameen and Card, we call them retail customers because they can fund a single community at a time. So one at a time when they fund communities. And usually, they tend to gravitate towards the other two quadrants. But then later on, we realized that there's also another kind of customer. And this is who we call the wholesale customers. These are bigger organizations, international organizations, or even local organizations who have big funding and who can fund several communities at a time. We can actually go to all the quadrants that was defined by Dr. Morato.
In the scout areas of Quezon City, Palamigan Co could easily sell 700 to 800 kilos of ice daily, despite the presence of 5 huge ice plants around its operations. Palamigan Co has also been assisting eateries, sidewalk vendors, and other small businesses. One of the secondary beneficiaries of the church's Ice Mercy business is this coffee shop. Palamigan Co realizes the importance of knowing your right market.
I was lucky enough to have been offered a scholarship in the Ateneo Graduate School of Business, and I took up a master's in entrepreneurship with a focus on social enterprise development. That really taught us how to study the market. What we did was we did a lot of surveys and interviews, but also we did a lot of research and we got a lot of data from the different government agencies. From that, we were able to define the market, and that's when we understood that the communities were not our customers, they were our beneficiaries, and we had a totally different set of customers. The biggest advantage we have really is more than the machine, it's how we do things. Because currently, we're the only ones really serving the communities directly and serving the poorer sectors of the country directly. So we don't see any other groups going into that as of now. We also bring back most of the profits to the communities as well. And this is why the intention really was not, instead of partnering with communities in running the business where we can also make profit, we make sure the business is theirs.
Adopting a franchise model is another key success factor for the enterprise.
There are communities who are organized already and who have their own money. And we've set up some micro ice plants where the community partner paid upfront. So there are some who can pay for their own, for the facilities already, but most do not have that capacity. So when we started the new business model, we looked for people who could loan the money. And it was something new for the microfinance institutions. It was something new, but it was a new model for them, but it was also something that helped us open more chances for communities. There are other avenues now. It's not just financing. We can even go into grants. But there are other communities who really have no capacity to put up their own capital, or who are too afraid to get a loan at the start because they don't have experiences with loans. Then we look for funding for them, who can, in the form of grants now. The secret to the kind of challenges that development work will give you is really collaboration with other people. Part of the business model that we did, we needed help from other people or other organizations. So first came the funding. We knew we needed help with the funding. We couldn't fund everything ourselves if we wanted to be sustainable. So we had to look for the right partners, but we had to identify who the partners are first. But also in other aspects of the operations, we're trying to bring in other NGOs, other foundations, and other organizations to help us with the operations. The temperature of the brine on top goes up a bit.
How can Palamigan Co ensure that they will be able to carry on their mission?
Because of the market map, we were able to study all the segments of the market that we wanted to play in. We're partnering with different kinds of communities who are either marginalized or underserved. Even in cities, we've been able to set up. We started with fisher folk, but now we're partnering with cooperatives, we're partnering with community associations as beneficiaries. Aside from the fisher folk, we're trying to partner with farmers also. Right now, really, the dream is to close the loop of the cold chain. Right now, we're only able to provide low-cost micro-ice plants. But what we want to get into is also low-cost cold storage, and that's the next. We're trying to build our first prototype for low-cost cold storage, and specifically, this will help our farmer folk. Hopefully, within the first quarter of 2022, we'll have our first prototype of low-cost cold storage. If we do that, I think we'll be sustainable, really.